Welcome the anointed ones. The heaviest crown is not made of gold, it is made of survival. Chosen ones, before you even realized you were in an exam, you were already sitting in God's classroom. No paper, no pen, no instructions, just life itself throwing you into storms, betrayals, losses, and nights where the silence of God felt louder than thunder. Here is the truth most people do not want to admit. The hardest test is the one where the teacher does not say a word until the exam is over. Scientists say the average human can endure around 45 units of pain before breaking down. But you endured betrayals that would have broken nations. You walked through fire with your sanity hanging by a thread, yet you never surrendered your soul. That is not normal endurance, that is divine calibration, and that is why it is time to tell you what really happened. You passed, and let us be honest. Sometimes it felt less like a spiritual test and more like you were the punchline in a cosmic prank show. If life was a comedy sketch, you were the main character tripping over invisible wires while the audience gasped. But here is the plot twist. Every stumble was a step closer to your unveiling. What looked like humiliation was actually preparation. So lean in. What you thought was random suffering was actually a divine syllabus. And now that you have passed, it is time to lift the veil and reveal everything God was doing in secret. This is not about pity. This is about power. This is not about endurance alone. This is about emergence, chosen ones. You survived the kind of test most people do not even know exists, and today you will finally hear why. Before we go further, there is something I need you to know. This message exists to reach someone who is still in the middle of it. Someone sitting in the fire right now, convinced that nothing is being formed inside it. If you want to carry this word into those moments, into the specific nights when the suffering feels permanent, and the person inside it is closest to stepping out before what is being built has finished forming. You can do that through the link in the description or the pinned comment below. A seed planted there does not just support this channel, it carries this message into the exact season someone else cannot yet survive alone. As you give, bring with you the moment you thought the fire would never end. Bring the specific season where the suffering felt like it had no exit. Place it inside your seed. Because what you plant from that place is not just an offering, it is testimony. And testimony is exactly what someone needs to hold on tonight. Number 1. You were tested beyond human measurement. That is the part most people will never understand about your story. It was not just about how much you could take before you broke. It was about whether you could remain incorruptible when life kept stripping away every safety net you thought you had. The trials did not just hit your body or your finances. They struck your identity, your dignity, your sense of belonging, and your very belief in the goodness of God. God was not asking, can they survive? He was asking, can they survive without losing themselves? Because survival alone can make people bitter, angry, or cold. But you endured without selling out, without bowing down, and without letting the fire turn you into the very thing that was attacking you. Others break and blame, but you bent and became. That is what passing looks like. Not walking out untouched, but walking out uncorrupted. You woke up day after day, carried weight you did not know how to carry, and still refused to let the darkness rewrite your identity. That is what made heaven take notice. You passed not because you were flawless, but because you remained faithful when everything in you was tempted not to. That is what it means to be chosen. Number 2. Your innocence was the true battlefield. The attacks were not aimed at what you owned, who you knew, or how far you could go. They were aimed at the purity of your heart, the softness of your spirit, and the light that made you different. Destroying your possessions or reputation would never have been enough. The real agenda was to stain you, to poison your character with bitterness, anger, or revenge. If they could corrupt your essence, they would not just win against you. They would erase what made you chosen in the first place. But you passed because you refused to let your pain reshape you into what hurt you. You did not let your heart calcify into stone even when giving up on love would have been easier. You did not let cynicism take over even when you had every reason to close yourself off. That restraint is not weakness. It is divine strength. It takes far more power to remain soft in a hard world than to let the world harden you. The fact that your innocence is still alive is proof that you won the unseen war. You walked through hell, but you did not come out smelling like smoke. Many survive twisted, hardened, and unrecognizable. You survived intact, and that is the victory no one can take away from you. Number 3. The silence of God was never abandonment. Though in the moment, it felt like the cruelest emptiness you had ever known. Those seasons when your prayers seemed to hit a ceiling, when your cries went unanswered, but that silence was not neglect. It was a different kind of teaching, one that stripped away your dependency on signs, confirmations, and constant reassurance. God's silence was not Him leaving you, it was Him upgrading you. He was training you to hear the whispers beneath the silence and to trust His hand even when you could not see His fingerprints. The silence made you question everything. Was I forgotten? Did I fail? Was I ever chosen at all? Those questions were part of the exam. Anyone can trust when they are being carried, but it takes a chosen one to trust when they feel dropped. Somewhere in those quiet seasons, your confidence shifted. You stopped begging for constant reassurance and started walking in authority. Not because you felt strong, but because you finally understood that God was with you whether He spoke or not. His silence was not absence. It was strategy. That is the power of being chosen. Number 4. You were not just attacked. You were studied. Nothing about what you went through was accidental. The opposition was not chaos. It was calculation. Every betrayal, every sudden storm, every cycle that felt too perfectly timed to be coincidence, those were orchestrated. The plan was not just to hurt you, it was to study you, to find the exact crack where they could break you from the inside out. They launched attacks when you were weakest. But here is what they did not factor in: covenant. They calculated your humanity, but overlooked your divinity. They underestimated the depth of your connection to God. A connection that does not show up on their charts or strategies. Every time you endured, you ruined their data. Every time you refused to fold, their research collapsed. They studied you, but they never understood you. They tried to map your weakness, but they discovered you are unbreakable in covenant. Number 5. Your breaking point became your birth point. They saw your collapse as failure, as the end of your story, but in reality, it was the exact opposite. That breaking was not the closing of a chapter. It was the tearing open of something brand new. You reached the place where human strength simply could not carry you any further. That is where divine power stepped in. Passing the test did not mean you avoided the breakdown. Passing meant you allowed the breakdown to become the doorway to your rebirth. Everything you lost, every tear you shed, every moment you felt like you were unraveling, it all became the ashes God used as raw material for reconstruction. The collapse created space for a version of you that was always hidden beneath the surface. This is why the moment others thought you were finished, heaven recognized it as your initiation. The breaking point was not proof of weakness. It was proof of destiny. You came out with a strength that is not humanly explainable because it was not humanly sustained. That is why your breaking point will always be remembered as the birth point of the real you. Number 6. God let them win battles to prove they could not win the war. On the surface, it looked like defeat. You lost things you cared about. People walked away with what felt like victories over you. But heaven was not looking at those moments as losses. They were exposures. They were setups to reveal just how limited your enemy power really was. They could take possessions, positions, and even people. But they could not take your essence. They could not touch what made you chosen. And that was the war all along. Every false victory your enemies celebrated only highlighted the reality that they had no lasting power. They may have stolen moments, but they could never rewrite your ending. You walked through the fire and came out scorched but not consumed. That is not defeat. That is triumph on a level most people will never understand. God let them win just enough to expose that their victories were illusions, while your survival was eternal proof that the war was never theirs to win. Number 7. You carried scars, not stains, and that distinction is everything. Scars are proof of survival. They say, yes, I was wounded. I was cut deep, but I healed without becoming poisoned. Stains are what the enemy wanted for you. They wanted the dirt of bitterness to stick, the darkness of resentment to take root, and the ugliness of what they did to become the definition of who you are. But here you are, scarred yet uncorrupted. The pain did not erase your light. It carved it deeper. People see those scars, and they realize you have lived through something heavy. But they also see that those experiences did not destroy your softness, your purity, or your ability to love. That combination is rare. You carry scars that shine as proof that your soul remains untouched. They meant to stain you permanently. All they managed to do was highlight that you are chosen. And nothing can contaminate what God has sealed. There is someone tonight still in the middle of what you have already walked through. Someone whose fire feels like it has no end, and whose silence feels like it has no bottom. If you want to be part of carrying this word into that moment, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. When you give through that link, you are sending this message into the specific night when someone is closest to giving up. There is no surplus needed to plant this seed. Bring whatever season you endured where the outcome was not yet clear. Bring the version of you that did not yet know it would survive. Plant that into someone else's fragile season, because a seed sown from personal survival carries testimony inside it. And testimony is what lifts the weight off someone's chest in the middle of the night when nothing else can reach them. Number 8. They failed the test they set for you. That truth cuts deeper than any attack they ever launched. They thought they were the examiners holding the power to grade your worth and your future. But the moment they chose to test you, they placed themselves under examination too. Every move they made became evidence, not of your weakness, but of their own corruption. What they thought would discredit you ended up disqualifying them. In the background, heaven was recording their actions, their motives, their cruelty. Your endurance became your vindication, while their behavior became their judgment. They exposed their envy, their lies, their deceit, and their willingness to destroy another soul just to feel powerful. And in doing so, they failed the very test they created. The trap they set became the very place where they tripped. The trial was never about testing you alone. It was about revealing them. They failed the test they set for you, and that failure will follow them far longer than any wound they tried to inflict on you. Number 9. You were refined for leadership, not comfort. That explains why your path has been so brutal. The test you faced was never about easing your way through life. It was about shaping you into someone whose voice carries undeniable weight. Influence without depth is dangerous, and God was not about to place authority in your hands without first proving you could handle it. Every trial stripped away arrogance. Every setback burned off illusions. Every loss carved out humility. What you endured was not punishment. It was preparation. Credibility is forged in fire. You cannot fake it. It comes from walking through valleys most people avoid and coming out with integrity intact. Passing this test was not about becoming untouchable. It was about becoming trustworthy. The scars you carry are your credentials. They give you authority to speak where others only theorize. People will listen to you not because you demand respect, but because your story commands it. That kind of authenticity cannot be fabricated. It is the fruit of being refined, not indulged. When you speak, chains break, not because of charisma, but because your authority has been tested, proven, and refined in fire. Number 10. Your loneliness was an initiation into divine secrets. The silence around you, the empty rooms, the lack of support. It was not the universe forgetting you. It was God pulling you out of reach. Chosen ones are never validated in crowds. They are refined in isolation, where the noise of opinions cannot drown out the lessons only heaven can teach. You were not hidden because you were unworthy. You were hidden because you were being trained in ways no audience could understand. In solitude, God strips away the need for external confirmation. You had to learn how to walk without cheerleaders, how to keep going without encouragement, and how to trust His presence when no one else could see it. True power is not shaped in the spotlight. It is forged in the shadows. The secrets you now carry cannot be found in a book. They were whispered in the hidden place, in moments where you felt stripped, raw, and forgotten. Those whispers reshaped how you see the world, how you hear God, and how you navigate battles others cannot even recognize. You walked away from that hidden season with clarity that cannot be bought or borrowed. Now, when you step forward, you do not just move with knowledge, you move with revelation. Your loneliness was never wasted. It was sacred training. Number 11. They saw you as weak because they could not see your source. That was the greatest miscalculation they made about you. To the natural eye, your endurance looked like fragility. You did not retaliate the way they expected. You endured quietly, steadily, and faithfully. And to them, that looked like weakness. But you were not surviving on human strength at all. You were plugged into a reservoir that does not run dry, a divine supply that cannot be explained by logic or measured by appearances. They only saw the outward struggle, but missed the inward anchoring. They saw exhaustion in your eyes, but did not realize there was a flame in your spirit that could not be put out every time you kept moving forward without explaining yourself. Every time you stood still when they expected you to collapse. Every time you forgave when revenge would have been easier. You displayed a power they did not know existed. They mistook patience for passivity, but heaven recognized it as authority. They thought they were watching someone breaking down. They were actually witnessing someone being built up. They underestimated you because they underestimated God in you. Only the chosen can look breakable and yet remain unbreakable. Number 12. You were called to demonstrate what unbreakable faith looks like. Faith sounds poetic when it is preached, but living it out is a different battlefield altogether. Faith is not real until it is stripped of comfort, proof, and safety nets. And yours was tested to the brink of absurdity. You believed when believing seemed foolish. You held on when every sign told you to let go. You trusted God long after it stopped making sense to anyone watching, and even when it barely made sense to you. Most people only believe when conditions are favorable. They call it faith, but it is really just agreement with circumstances, but chosen ones are forced into a different reality. Your belief had to exist in the dark, without evidence, without reassurance, without applause. You kept walking as though God was moving. Even when silence stretched so long, it felt like abandonment, and yet you refused to quit. This was not blind optimism, it was radical trust. Your irrational trust became proof that there is a dimension of belief that does not collapse when facts scream the opposite. Sometimes it is tears on the pillow and prayers that feel unanswered. Sometimes it is standing still when your knees are shaking. Sometimes it is holding on to a word from God with nothing to back it but your own heartbeat. And yet you passed. You did not just talk about faith, you lived it out until it became undeniable. What others call irrational, heaven calls unshakable. Number 13. The real test was whether you would still love. The deepest exam God placed before you was this: would you still love after everything? Could you hold on to the core of your heart after betrayal, loss, humiliation, and cruelty? Pain has a way of making people bitter. Betrayal has a way of poisoning the well of compassion. Many pass through trials but fail in the arena of love. They come out hardened, cynical, unable to forgive, and quick to wound others just as they were wounded. That is the real danger of suffering. Not the suffering itself, but the way it can mutate your soul if you let it. But here is what makes you different. You did not allow the darkness to turn you into what hurt you. You did not let betrayal erase your ability to trust God's goodness. You did not let cruelty destroy your capacity for compassion. You did not let abandonment strip you of the ability to care for others. That is the miracle. It is not just that you survived. It is that you survived without losing your humanity. Because power, wisdom, and strength mean little if love is missing. You allowed God to keep your heart soft even while life was trying to harden it. To love after pain is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of divine strength. The fact that love still survived in you after everything is not just a personal victory, it is the greatest miracle of all. Number 14. You did not just pass, you became the answer. You did not just walk through your test and come out with a story to tell. You walked out as the story itself. Survival alone gives you scars. But passing the test transforms you into living evidence of what God can do through a human life. You are not just someone with a testimony, you are the testimony. When people encounter you, they are not just hearing about endurance. They are seeing endurance. They are not just learning about resilience, they are witnessing resilience. Your very presence tells the truth. Yes, the fire is real. Yes, it burns. But no, it cannot consume me. That is what makes you the answer to someone else's question. People wrestling with despair do not need abstract theories. They need a breathing example that hope is possible. And that is you. Passing the test meant you stopped being a seeker of answers and started becoming one. Not because you had all the solutions in your pocket, but because your existence itself carries revelation. The way you endure, the way you forgive, the way you still choose faith after everything. these things preach louder than any sermon could. You embody what people secretly wonder. Can a human being really live through this kind of pain and not be destroyed? And your life answers yes. It was not just about you. It was about others who would one day find themselves where you were. Your life serves as proof that survival is possible, that transcendence is real, that God power is not just theory but reality. You are no longer a student of the storm. You are its survivor, its revelation, its answer. And that is something no enemy can erase. You have walked a path that few could even imagine, through every trial, every betrayal, every moment that felt like the end. You did more than survive. You transformed. You endured attacks meant to destroy your soul. You navigated storms designed to break your faith. You faced betrayals intended to twist your heart. And yet here you stand, unbroken, untainted, and undeniably chosen. Every scar you carry is not a mark of failure. It is proof of divine refinement. Every season of silence, every moment of solitude, every time you felt misunderstood or underestimated was part of a process that elevated you beyond ordinary understanding. You passed not because life was easy, not because the battles were fair, and not because your enemies were weak. You passed because your covenant with God is unshakable. Your strength is not measured by what you held on to. It is measured by what you refuse to become. You carried love when it was almost impossible. You trusted when it made no sense. You walked faithfully when the world doubted you. You became more than a survivor. You became a living revelation. You are the answer, the testimony, the proof that the impossible can be endured and transcended. This is the moment to embrace your power, your purpose, and your authority. Your journey has made you credible, unbreakable, and unmistakably authentic. What the world tried to use against you has only highlighted your resilience. What was meant to shame you has only revealed your greatness. What was designed to diminish you has confirmed that you are chosen. Let this be the declaration of your life. You passed not by luck or chance, but by being faithful, enduring, and anchored in God. You have emerged refined, strengthened, and illuminated. The world may have watched your struggle, but now it will witness your triumph. Stand boldly, walk confidently, and let every step echo the truth. What tried to break you only made you extraordinary. You are living proof that God-chosen ones do not just survive. They conquer, they shine, and they reveal what it truly means to be unshakable. If this message reached something deep in you, do not let it stop here. Hit that subscribe button and join a community of chosen ones who refuse to settle for ordinary. Give this video a like if it reminded you of your own strength. Drop a comment and tell us how you have endured and emerged stronger. Your story belongs in this space, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. You are not just watching. You are participating in a movement that celebrates survival, authenticity, and divine purpose. Make your presence count. God bless you.